Rebel Nation, are you ready? It's time for the Cannon Motors of Mississippi Rebel Yell Hotline.
He gets the blocks he needs. He's in the end zone. Touchdown, Ole Miss. Straight in the middle. It's a first down and more. See you later. It's going to be a touchdown for Judkins.
Right up the middle, David. Big gaping hole opened up, and Judkins just burst through there.
Gary Darby, Chuck Rounsville, Yancey Porter, and Gordon Ford bring you the latest on everything going on with Ole Miss athletics.
Gets control in the dunk. Oh, my.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Be part of the show. Text in your questions or comments at 662-426-1093. That's 662-426-1093.
I guess you don't have to, but you need to.
He hits one high and deep left field. Kane shading the eyes at the track, and it is gone.
Let's get to it. Here's your host, Gary Darby.
And we welcome you into another Cannon Motors Mississippi Rebel Yell Hotline. Gary, Chuck, Yancey in studio. Gordon's going to be with us. Mike Clement, the hitting instructor or position coach, whatever you want to call him, assistant coach for the Ole Miss baseball team, is going to be with us as well. And we hope you will by texting in at 426-1093, 662-426-1093. I've got to tell you about First South Farm Credit. 100 years of experience supporting rural communities and agriculture. They're ready to help you through your financial journey. It is First South Farm Credit. I'm done. Now here's the talent of the show. Hello, Chuck. Hello, Nancy.
When you're gone, we know who the talent is, brother.
I just hit buttons. That's it, right? I hit buttons, read a couple of things.
Button hitter.
And we take off.
Yeah.
Professional button hitter. That's me.
There you go. Yeah, well, some good, some bad since last Monday, and we'll go over all of it. Certainly a rude awakening Saturday with the men's basketball team, but I can't say I'm totally shocked that Auburn won that game. They're just better than Ole Miss right now.
Well, as we were talking in the back, I mean, what happened in the second half, and I've seen text messages that are asking the same thing about the Ole Miss team getting worn down. Yeah, it did look like, obviously. I mean, you're trying to play one center, Musa Cisse, the entire game.
Yeah.
Kind of tough. And that maybe he needed a breather and you couldn't, and then Auburn's NBA player became an NBA player. I'm not going to say he's a superstar-type guy, but he's going to be on an NBA roster. He's big. He can play around the basket. He can take you outside. And they're more veteran, guys who have been in those situations came to play in the second half. They didn't let the crowd and atmosphere get to them. They responded. Bruce Pearl even said the same thing.
Well, you're talking about Johnny Broome, but
yes,
don't forget about Jalen Williams.
That's right.
6'10" guy inside that dominated for a while until Broome got heated up. So you got 16 and 15 from those guys. That's how you win.
Yeah, when Cisse got that third foul, I believe in the first minute of the second half, he knew the next foul, he's out to the last 5 minutes, and you didn't have Sharp back there to protect the rim, and Pearl did what you're supposed to do. He said, hey, they don't have anybody to protect the rim down low now, and they went down low, and they were doing that side three-pointer that it seemed like they went like 20 for 20 in the second half there, and Ole Miss just went stone cold. Juju had his first all-shooting game probably of the season, and then Morrell went cold, and Ole Miss just wasn't hitting any shots, and Ole Miss didn't have any rim protection down low, and Auburn took advantage of it.
Well, when Beard adjusted his defense to collapse around the goal, they were just deadly from the outside.
Right.
I mean, what do you do?
Yeah,
damn if you do and damn if you don't.
They got hot.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a reason they're a top 10 basketball team. And when we get into the Ole Miss and SEC news, why everybody has them as either a 4 seed or a 3 seed. They are one of the better teams. That you jumped out and I guess had a 13-point lead early in the second half.
Not even early, with about a minute to play. You wanted them to push it out to 17-18 there.
But they got it back up in the early minute or two of the second half.
Yeah.
And then the rush came on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's when Cisse got that third foul, and that's when they immediately said, hey, let's go down low.
And the sad part about it is this Cisse finally showed a little bit of offense.
Yeah,
he
did. 10 or 12 points.
Yeah.
And
no, he played well.
Yeah,
he played well. It just, you got to have a two-man rotation down low there, and I don't know if it changes it if Sharp plays, but it definitely would have altered the game plan there in the second half for Ole Miss and Auburn.
If you go back to the win over Mississippi State, Sharp played 6 minutes, 7 minutes.
Yeah, that wasn't the big physical bruisers. That's not really his best forte.
Right, but I'm just saying, if you could have given Cisse 6 or 7 minutes of rest in that game against Auburn, maybe he can continue to play and kind of handle some of the things that were going on down there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he brought the freshman Marshall in.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
He got taught a lesson, didn't he?
Quickly, right?
Poor guy. I felt sorry for him. I said, don't put him in there against that 6th-year guy.
Yeah, and I think in time, he's going to be really good.
Yeah.
He's going to be really good.
Yeah.
That moment, that guy, I mean, it was tough, man.
It was just a mismatch.
Yeah, 24-year-olds playing with 18 is tough on any level.
All right, we got a couple of minutes. The answer for 5 things brought to us by the Outback Steakhouse, our friend Steve Grantham, with those locations in Mississippi and Tennessee.
Yeah, thought number 1, the atmosphere last week for the MSU and Auburn games cannot be matched by any school in the country. Kudos to the Ole Miss fans and for Keith allowing more seats for the students at these games. Thought number 2, I thought the MSU game was one of the best games I've seen in many, many years. The intensity from the players and fans was simply outstanding. The difference in the game came down to one thing. Ole Miss is simply a better shooting team. Thought number 3, I wouldn't trade Chris Beard for any 1 or 3 players in the country, but man, is MSU freshman point guard Josh Hubbard some kind of good. But in the end, Ole Miss got Juju Murray. Thought number 4, the difference in Auburn game came down to 2 things. The quality depth at Auburn cannot be matched by anyone in the country. And lastly, they simply owned the paint in the second half. The last thought of the day, the news that Xavier Rivas is out for the season is a tough blow. But unlike last season, there's quality depth on this team. Remember these 3 names. Freshman left-handed pitcher Wes Mendez, who reminds many of a young Doug Nikhazy. JUCO left-handed pitcher Gunnar Dennis out of Meridian Community College.
When you think car, we want you to think Cannon. Whether you're in the market for gas, hybrid, or electric vehicles, our team has got you covered. We're invested in your future and in seeing that you have the experience you deserve, even after you get your car. Pre-order or bring home a new Chevrolet Silverado or a Chevrolet pre-owned vehicle from Cannon Chevrolet of Oxford today. And remember, when the smoke clears, nobody beats a Cannon deal. Nobody. Chevrolet, find new roads.
What does the farm mean to you? Maybe it's a piece of land for production, crops, or cattle. Or maybe the farm is just a place you can go to relax or enjoy the outdoors. Whatever the farm means to you, First South Farm Credit can help you finance or refinance that perfect piece of land. We've been financing farms and land since 1916 with competitive rates and flexible terms. For more information, go to firstsouthland.com. Equal housing lender.
Cannon Cleary McGraw is ranked Oxford's #1 real estate firm because of fans like you. The agents of Cannon Cleary McGraw are true experts in their field, and it shows with hundreds of 5-star reviews and unwavering commitment to their clients. Cannon Cleary McGraw experts specialize in game day condos, seasonal townhomes, and high-end single-family homes. If you are on the sidelines and ready to get in the game, give a Cannon Cleary McGraw agent a call today at 662-371-1000. Tilt the odds in your favor of getting what you want with the best service in Oxford at Cannon Cleary McGraw Real Estate.
Oxford Orthopedic and Sports Medicine board-certified surgeons are specially trained for you and your family, from dad's knee replacement to your son's football injury. Leaders in orthopedic care. Oxford Orthopedic can treat any of your orthopedic needs close to home. Locations in Oxford, Batesville, Grenada, Hernando, Cleveland, Calhoun City, and Pontotoc. Official orthopedic team physicians for Ole Miss Athletics. To make an appointment, call 662-513-2000 or visit oxfordortho.org.
If you're in the market for a fine piece of jewelry, there's only one name to know: Van Atkins. Serving its customers since 1939, Van Atkins has been voted the best estate jeweler in Mississippi multiple times. With great locations to serve you in historic downtown New Albany and on the square in Oxford, Van Atkins is the place to go. Whether it's a piece for yourself or for that special someone, Van Atkins is the easy decision. And like Chuck always says,
you know she's worth it.
Campbell Clinic Orthopedics, a national and international leader in musculoskeletal care, are the ones to trust when it comes to orthopedic needs, such as sports medicine, pediatrics, hip and knee, spine, shoulder and elbow, foot and ankle, hand and wrist, as well as cast and x-ray services, along with a physical therapy department. To make an appointment, call 901-759-3111 or schedule online now at www.campbellclinicoxford.com. They also offer a convenient weekly walk-in clinic Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 4 p.m. Campbell Clinic Oxford, located at 2608 South Lamar Boulevard.
You're listening to the Rebel Yell Hotline, presented by Cannon Motors.
Don't forget you can get in on that text message line at 662-426-1093. We have your text messages coming up in a few. We're going to talk Ole Miss baseball with Coach Mike Clement coming up in the second half of the program, but we bring in the fourth of the group. Our man Gordon Ford should be hanging online. Gordon, how are you?
I am wonderful, Gary. How about yourself?
We're doing good. Before we get to you, Yancey didn't get his final thought of his thoughts out, and so we're going to let that happen, and then we'll get to you on basketball, okay?
Sure, yeah.
Right.
Get cut off there by the air radio, but the last thought of the day on 5, I said the news of Xavier Rivas is out for the season is a tough blow. But unlike last season, there's a lot of quality depth on this team. Remember these three names. They're all left-handed pitchers, Chucky. Freshman Wes Mendez, that I said a lot of people are putting that Doug Nikhazy level. The guy just fills up the zone. JUCO left-handed pitcher Gunnar Dennis, who led the team in the ERA in the fall out of Meridian Community College, and sophomore transferred Liam Dole out of Coastal Carolina. I think one of those three guys, possibly even two as the season goes on, has a great chance to be in that weekend rotation.
Wasn't Doyle their Coastal's ace?
Yeah. Well, no, he wasn't their ace. He was a freshman. I believe he moved up to the weekend rotation, but he's got a lot of hit and miss. He's got a nasty slider. He gets it up there about 91 for a left-handed pitcher. That's pretty good, and he's got great stuff. And this Mendez kid, though, I've watched 3 or 4 scrimmages. I didn't see anybody better out on the mound for Ole Miss than him.
Great.
Yeah.
Gordon, it's great seeing you at the last 2 games, Mississippi State and Auburn, and I know you took in a lot of that big win over the Bulldogs. What were your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts is, first of all, we need some inside help bad. And, we do have inside players, but physical teams are giving us trouble right now. And you can see that at the end with Auburn. And I think not having Sharp there for the Auburn game really hurt. But we pulled out all the stops to beat them, brought Marshall Henderson out there to fire the crowd up. It was just a bad loss at the end of the day. But,
guys, G, what do you do? Ole Miss is just getting beat on the boards. It's not this game, last game. They're getting beat anywhere from 12 to 16 rebounds, it seems, a game. Your shooters have got to shoot to overcome that. Is there, guys, all of you, do you think there's anything Ole Miss can do to lessen those stats? Chuck?
Well, they can block out and do the things they are, but, you look at it this way. You had Cisse in there, and you've got Sharp, and they're both 7-footers, okay? And then you've got Brakefield. Really, you don't have another big player other than that in your rotation, except for Marshall. And, he's young, and they're not playing him. But you look at most of the guys you've got are guards. And, those guys have got to go to the boards. And they're going to have a tough game tomorrow night. They're playing against South Carolina, who's just on a roll. And they've only lost 3 games, and only one was a blowout when they played Alabama.
Well, to me, with the rebound total, Brandon Murray had 6 to lead the team against Auburn. Flanagan and Morrell both had 5. Brakefield's got to help in that rebounding stuff. And
he usually does. He's usually going to get 5 to 8.
He's got to be the guy that's down in there getting that 5 or so. And then Sharp's got to, if he's in the game, he's got to grab more rebounds. Well, now, I know Cisse blocked 4 shots and Sharp's blocking shots, but then sometimes you're not in position to rebound the basketball.
No, that's right.
We don't crash the boards like I've seen Mississippi State and Auburn crashed the boards. And another thing that I'm concerned with is we don't get a lot of offensive rebounds. We don't get many second shots.
Think about all the points. I mean, Ole Miss is up 20-25 going into halftime easily if they don't allow those second half points, right? I mean, second chance points. I mean, they were shooting it, missing it, shooting it, missing it, and then the third one from three, they'd hit it. And you're like,
happens all the time.
It just, I believe they got 5 or 6 of those in the first half alone. You get one of those 2 offensive rebounds there, and, it doesn't matter if Auburn makes that win. You still win. So it just, they got to learn how to defensive rebound better and stop those extra possessions.
Absolutely.
Well, this team, to me right now, has overachieved. They're 18-4. Nobody would ever thought that. And once Beard gets his players in there, I think you will see a much better effort. But, right now I just don't think we've got the guys, the power forwards and the center types that could really rebound. I mean, like I said, think about it. Cisse is 7 foot? Sharp 7'5". They're not very good rebounders. And then Breakfield's your biggest guy. And what's he, 6'8"? And then Marshall, and he's young, and they're not going to play him. I mean, I think the answer to it all is, you do the best you can this year and win as much as you can, try to get in the tournament and recruit better.
What about South Carolina? I mean, that center scares the devil out of me. I know we talked about it offline, G-Man, about him and, the physicality he brings, the energy he brings. I mean, what does Ole Miss have to do to overcome him?
Well, they got to block out because that guy, B.J. McKee, he is, about 6'9". He's a powerful inside player. He's a back-to-the-basket guy that can, shoot jumps, hooks, and score down low. He's a transfer from Wofford, and
really, I didn't know
they got
that.
they got a lot of transfers on that team. And Lamont Harris is a very good coach. I mean, he won a lot of games at UTC. He's a former Wisconsin assistant under Bo Ryan. He's got a South Carolina going. He's probably one of the better coaches we'll go against. They got guards, Mincy Johnson, who can shoot like real deep. Like I'm talking stepping across half court. And if they're shooting well, I mean, we got to get on the boards and defend. And that's another thing. I don't think we're really playing that great a defense. But, South Carolina is a team we can beat. But, we just got to go in there and play better and rebound.
Let me ask everybody something. Before the season started, halfway through the SEC schedule, did we think we'd be talking 18-4 and 5-4?
No,
I know there's deficiencies, and I know there's things that aren't going well, but everything's going all right.
Well, that's a credit.
No
to,
doubt.
That's a credit to Coach Beard.
You got 5 scores on this team now.
That's a credit to Coach Beard, but I will say this: I did not think that there'd be 18-4, but I didn't think they'd be too far behind that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a hand-picked team that got a lot of NIL money on this team.
Yeah.
And, Coach Beard picked out some good players. And, I think there's supposed to be 16 wins right now or 15.
I think we're just seeing Brandon Murray get into basketball.
Yeah. And he's physical. He is a physical player, and they need that. And just going back to the Wofford transfer at South Carolina, you watch on TV all of these teams. I mean, Tennessee's difference maker, right? He came from like South or North Dakota State. Alabama's came from, I believe, a DT school. Just all these impact players around the SEC.
The 7-footer came from Nevada. Actually, we were in on him, and he ended up going there. If we'd have had that guy, we'd have been in really good shape. But it came down to us and LSU to get him.
These are non-Power 5 schools that these difference makers are coming from in very small programs. It just seems like those are the ones that are making huge impacts around the SEC, not the ones that are coming from other Power 5 programs. It's just something I've noticed.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. But like I told you, that guy from Tennessee, man, I mean, he was second team all Big Sky. I mean, Big Sky is far away from the SEC. So
he's going to be He's going to be the player of the year.
Ditch there.
Yeah.
All right, Gordon, as always, thanks, buddy.
Thank you, G-Man.
All right, thanks.
We'll see you next week.
Looking at the South Carolina roster, transfers from Coastal, the Citadel, Ohio State, Vandy, Illinois, LSU, Minnesota. It's the way it is.
They may be the surprise team of the country right now. They're 19-3, aren't they?
Yeah. Yes. We're doing this every year now. All right, back with text messages and more.
Can you imagine years of hard work and saving, and now you're worried about outliving your retirement savings? Paxton Faris and the Faris Group have over 20 years and a process working toward success, not stress, after retirement. To know how you can truly enjoy a level of comfort and security, talk to the Faris Group. Retirement should be stress-free, not stressful. The Faris Group, FarisGroup.com, offices in Oxford and Jackson. The Faris Group, your partner in retirement. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, and SIPC.
Big Delta Power Sports on Cracker Barrel Drive in Batesville celebrates 20 years in business this year. Check out the great selection now of major brands like Honda, Polaris, Can-Am, Yamaha, and Kawasaki, featuring the most fun off the road and on the road. Motorcycles, ATVs, and side-by-sides, zero-turn mowers. Plus, you'll find generators by Honda and Polaris. And Big Delta is your steel power equipment dealer. Celebrating 20 years in business, whether it's work or play. Big Delta Power Sports in Batesville.
Outback Steakhouse knows steak. Even better, the grills are always hot and ready for your favorites. There's nothing better than pairing a bold steak with a bloomin' onion and one of our signature cocktails. Drop in for a great lunch or dinner anytime for awesome food and a bloomin' good time. Either way, Outback has your back. Visit their locations in Tupelo, Hattiesburg, Meridian, South Haven, D'Iberville, and Flowood, Mississippi. Also serving Jackson and Cordova, Tennessee. Outback Steakhouse. House cleaning is just one of those things you gotta do. But life is busy, and the great folks at Brittany's Cleaning Services understand that and are here to help. They provide professional cleaning services for residential, commercial, and rental properties. Reliable, honest, experienced cleaners with affordable pricing. Servicing Olive Branch, Tupelo, Water Valley, Bruce, Holly Springs, Pontotoc, Oxford, Taylor, New Albany, South Haven, Senatobia, and Batesville. Call for more information at 662-202-8868 and follow them on social media. That's Brittany's Cleaning Services, LLC. Hey, Rebel fans, want to be more involved with Ole Miss? Well, join the Grove Collective, the exclusive Ole Miss NIL program. With the new name, image, and likeness law, Rebel fans now have the opportunities to support and elevate Ole Miss student athletes. And the Grove Collective has created a unified portal to amplify that support. As part of the Grove Collective, your support opens access to special events, fan experiences, merchandise, and marketing opportunities with student athletes. To find out more and to become part of the Grove Collective NIL program, visit thegrovecollective.com. Hotty toddy and go Rebs.
More of the Rebel Yell Hotline, presented by Cannon Motors, coming up next.
We're going to get to those text messages. We've got injuries, obviously, we have to discuss. We got baseball to get to, and the part of the show with Gordon brought to you by our friends at Gateway Tire since 1924, 54 locations, 6 different states. Gateway Tire goes the distance to you. And today, tons of basketball questions, but they are all about minutes played. Will we extend and play more guys? I mean, it's almost 3 or 4 different of the same things, and so
there's no more guys to play.
Well, but as we talk, Auburn is an anomaly.
Yeah.
And I've got South Carolina's stats that I pulled up as well, and they play 8 guys, 20 or more minutes is where they're split up on an average, right?
And that's good.
And that's very good.
That's really good.
They've got 2 or 3 other guys that are in that 10-minute average blowout games. They're getting some games or they're getting some run in foul trouble.
Yeah.
Auburn is one of, if not the only,
337 teams
that plays 10 to 11 guys.
Yeah.
That many minutes. There are only so many minutes. There are 200 minutes to be played among 5 positions, okay? You got to split them up. And for Ole Miss to win the games, Murray, Flanagan, Morrell, those guys got to play 35 of those minutes.
Breakfield,
right?
Playing it.
And you split Cisse and Sharp, and then you bring in, now Caldwell's going to be getting double-digit minutes. Nunez played double-digit minutes after playing 1 against Mississippi State. You're going to get that kind of thing.
Because Juju was off.
Well, you're only going to play 8 guys.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is.
This is how effective
with most
they are
most
during,
teams.
Yeah.
And we're lucky we got 8. Most teams have 7.
That's right. You go pull up a bunch of box scores after games, and it's going to look a lot like what the Ole Miss box score looks like.
Yeah, that is definitely. And let's be real, right? I mean, most Ole Miss fans are football people. They know their basketball team, their baseball team, and that's about it, right? I mean, that's the way it is for most SEC teams. So, yeah, I mean, that the myth out there now that Ole Miss got to have 10 players play over 15 minutes, it's not going to happen. Just not. But Pearl's done a good job because now when a player comes in from the portal or high school and they're like 3 or 4 returners or starters are returning, he still has a great shot to get the kid because he said, hey, we got 10 guys averaging over 15 minutes.
But here's the thing. I don't think Pearl does that every year.
Yeah, I'd have to go back on
I know he doesn't. I think he's a 7 or 8 guy.
Also,
usually, most of the time in his 10 seasons, he hadn't played 10 guys like this.
NCAA tournament time, he ain't playing 10 guys.
No.
Yeah.
he's not. Unless it's a blowout, right, or something like that. When it's one of those real games or winning an SEC tournament game or a big game in the SEC, that'll trim up too.
Yeah, and what we've seen in the SEC is 3 teams are kind of separated from the pack. It's Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama, right? They're the most consistent, well-rounded teams. And then you got another pack of, Kentucky. I can't believe they're not in that conversation there. And South Carolina, even Ole Miss, Mississippi State.
I was going to say
anybody else?
The positive thing is that Ole Miss is only 1 or 2 games behind those top guys.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they got 2 big ones coming up. They can somehow, before that Auburn game, I said they just need to go 1 and 2. Now there's a lot of pressure. You got to win at South Carolina or at Kentucky. Good gosh, when was last Ole Miss win? I was just out of college. Wasn't it 97? The last time Ole Miss won it?
Keith Carter on the team?
Kentucky on Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
Yeah. Long
time. You mean the last time you flunked out of college?
No, I actually got my degree.
I know you did, like 6 weeks ago, wasn't it?
Oh, my. Text messages brought to you by Cannon Clearing McGraw, ccmoxford.com. So to answer that, if there is a player on the bench, who is the guy or another guy that's going to step in and give you some of the minutes that
it's
we want?
It's obvious it's got to be Marshall or Nunez, and, Marshall showed Saturday he's not ready against the big boys. And Nunez is okay.
Yeah.
He can give you a few more minutes.
And I think Marshall can give you some minutes at times. I mean, I think
against some people.
Right. Against some, but not a team full of 5th and 6th year players.
Yeah.
Right. and that's what you just read off South Carolina. How many talk about the age of their guys?
They have 3 grad students
24.
and 2 redshirt seniors.
23 years
Then they've
old.
got 3 juniors and then a bunch of freshmen.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's NBA. I mean, NBA. Basically the same thing. NBA and college rosters these days. I mean,
what is their center? Is he a grad? The guy from, what was it, Wofford, he said? Or
I'll have to go. Let me pull that up. The one from Wofford, B.J. Mack, who is 6'8", 260, is a grad student.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's probably 24. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a man amongst boys now, and he brings the energy. They feed off of him. He is that team. I mean,
they got good guards too.
They do. But that energy comes from him. I mean, when he throws that thing home, I mean, he's going to let you know about it.
Give me some injury report from Oxford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine at Oxford Ortho.
Well, obviously, we just talked about Rivas, the left-handed pitcher that was supposed to be a weekend starter. I guess that's what, the 4th Tommy John of pretty important pitchers.
Last 2 years.
Maddox, Mallets, Elliott, and now Rivas.
Yeah, man, and Hunter and Rivas would have definitely been weekend guys going into the year if they weren't hurt.
No
but
doubt.
At least you did got, Mallets and
Maddox
Riley back. So that's good news there.
And then Sharp, he was sick.
What was it? He was on the bench.
Yeah, but he's sick. I don't know what his illness is, but he just said, Coach Beard just said sick.
Yeah. And it was not COVID, is what the announcer said.
I don't know.
It wasn't COVID related.
I hope not if he's on the bench.
But if he had the flu, he wouldn't be on the bench either.
No,
man.
That's true.
Come on, Sharp. All right.
Well, and then listening to Richard, because I couldn't make the game on Saturday, that's what it was like a not quite last-minute thing that he wasn't going to play, but they thought he had an opportunity.
Well, yeah,
leading into the day.
At the warm-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said, no, I can't do it. So.
Right.
He went back in street clothes.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. To me, I'd have left him in his uniform and said, just sit over there and at least be a threat.
Yeah.
That you're going to go in there at 7-5.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but anyway.
Still to go. We got baseball talk next and then the usual finish to the program, so stay with us.
You can break them open and they smell like ladies lying in the sun.
Never miss the game and never miss the party at the Library Sports Bar in Oxford. Grab a seat and a cocktail in the sports bar to watch the game on one of their many big screen TVs. Move on into the middle bar for some great live music Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. Enjoy a breeze, a beer, and a ball game out in their patio as well. Stop in for happy hour from 3 to 7 during the weekdays. Have a big old time at the biggest bar in town. Meet you at the Brary, the Library Sports Bar on South 11th in Oxford. Cannon Cleary McGraw is ranked Oxford's #1 real estate firm because of fans like you. The agents of Cannon Cleary McGraw are true experts in their field, and it shows with hundreds of 5-star reviews and unwavering commitment to their clients. Cannon Cleary McGraw experts specialize in game day condos, seasonal townhomes, and high-end single-family homes. If you are on the sidelines and ready to get in the game, give a Cannon Cleary McGraw agent a call today at 662-371-1000. Tilt the odds in your favor of getting what you want with the best service in Oxford at Cannon Cleary McGraw Real Estate. Roof leaks can disturb your relaxing weekend or put your business operations and assets in jeopardy. Riverland Roofing is a licensed, insured, and certified roofing contractor that offers clients quality solutions that suit their budget. As a certified GAF master contractor, Riverland can offer warranties that can last a lifetime, servicing 5 states, including Mississippi and Tennessee. Owned and operated by Ole Miss alumni, Riverland Roofing covers what matters most, home or business. Find out more at riverlandllc.com or call 844-901-ROOF. Make Lenora's in Oxford your go-to dinner play this season. Their daily ravioli is always amazing, and you cannot go wrong with the decadent crawfish mac and cheese. They have an excellent variety of seafood dishes, and their ribeyes and fillets are cooked to perfection every time. Have a taste of the weekend on Wine Wednesdays, too. Call for your reservation today at 662-236-1144. That's 236-1144. Located at 309 North Lamar. Great food and great vibes. It's a winning combination. Hey, cheers, and see you at Lenora's.
When you think car, we want you to think Cannon. Whether you're in the market for gas, hybrid, or electric vehicles, our team has got you covered. We're invested in your future and in seeing that you have the experience you deserve, even after you get your car. Pre-order or bring home a new Chevrolet Silverado or a Chevrolet pre-owned vehicle from Cannon Chevrolet of Oxford today. And remember, when the smoke clears, nobody beats a Cannon deal. Nobody. Chevrolet, find new roads.
Outback Steakhouse knows steak. Even better, the grills are always hot and ready for your favorites. There's nothing better than pairing a bold steak with a bloomin' onion and one of our signature cocktails. Drop in for a great lunch or dinner anytime for awesome food and a bloomin' good time. Either way, Outback has your back. Visit their locations in Tupelo, Hattiesburg, Meridian, South Haven, D'Iberville, and Flowood, Mississippi. Also serving Jackson and Cordova, Tennessee. Outback Steakhouse. Are you looking for a quality used car at a price fit for your budget? No Worries Automotive Group has locations in Batesville, Olive Branch, South Haven, and Memphis. No credit check, no driver's license, no worries. Every vehicle comes with a 30-month, 30,000-mile service contract. Let our friendly and knowledgeable sales staff help you find the car you deserve. Remember, we have locations in Batesville, Olive Branch, South Haven, and Memphis. Find us anytime, anywhere at NoWorriesCars.com.
Ole Miss football, basketball, baseball, and more are all right here on the Rebel Yell Hotline, presented by Cannon Motors.
Cannon Motors, the Mississippi Rebel Yell Hotline. Gary, Chuck, Yancey, and baseball coach Mike Clement is on. Clem, we're looking for rebounders to help out the Ole Miss men's basketball team and wondered if you could grab one or two.
Hey, listen, I right after practice today, I saw the tweet from Rebel Yell Hotline. I'm not sure who the other guy is that's either on after me or before me, but you called him a basketball guru, and then it was just simply Ole Miss assistant coach Mike Clement.
Well, you're the hitting guru. Everything.
Okay. All right,
yeah,
I'll take that.
That's why Ole Miss has been one of the best hitting teams in the country since you arrived. What is this year? What year is this for you now? Like 7 or 8?
This will be 10 for me.
10? Oh, my gosh.
8 completed seasons with COVID in there. And, so this is I was hired in the summer of 14. So time flies when you're having fun.
I mean, it's very unusual to have a staff with assistants being around that long. Just talk about the dynamics of that.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. It's I didn't tell Mike this in my interview here. I had never stepped foot in the state of Mississippi in my life before my interview. And number one, our community is awesome, and you guys know it better than anybody. Oxford is a great place to raise a family, and then if you're fortunate enough to have a wife, she typically when job opportunities come up, she looks at you cross-eyed, and you typically say yes, ma'am. So that's the personal side of it. The other side of it is Mike is tremendously loyal, and we've been fortunate enough to have a lot of success. So that combination keeps you in one place. And, I always thought when I was 25 years old and, raking the field, man, I'd love to get to a place where you got a chance to go to Omaha every year. And so that's not lost on me. We have a chance to do that every single year. And so I don't take that for granted. And I think that's part of the reason why I've been here so long. And Laugh, the guy I work with every single day, and turned into one of my best friends in the world. So pretty fun to go to the office every single day.
Well, your expiration date's getting close now. You better hit the ball this year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've been told that a few times.
I'm kidding with you. You know that. You're replacing some pretty good sticks this year, Mike. Kemp Alderman, Jacob Gonzalez, Calvin Harris. Calarco was a little spotty, but he came up with some big hits last year in a down year, let's be honest. But those are some good guys to have to replace.
Yeah, there's no question. It's funny, those younger pro guys always come back and work out, and they just left this past week. And the last day, we had a beautiful day late last week, and I was throwing BP to those guys on the field, and the 5 guys that were hitting were Alderman, Elko, Kevin Graham, Thomas Dillard, and one other. I can't remember who the 5th was, but Jacob Gonzalez. How could I forget? And so I looked, and I was like, man, you talk about being a good hitting coach or whatever. That makes you a good hitting coach. And furthermore, I thought I'd take those 5 guys in our lineup this year. But in answer to your question, we're fortunate, that this time in college athletics provides us with the transfer portal, and we feel like, especially from an offensive perspective, for me, we got 4 guys that are going to be in our lineup every day out of the portal and that are seasoned and have a bunch of at-bats under their belt, and we feel pretty good about a couple young freshmen that we have, and then there are 3 or 4 guys that were maybe more in a role position a year ago that I think have taken a step forward and developed into everyday type guys. So I love the depth of our lineup, and I think we'll hit again. I really do.
Coach, I noticed you got a little bit more balance this year in the lineup, not being as left-handed stacked as you've been in the previous years. I take it that's by design, just getting more balance there?
It is for sure. And you always want to have balance, but I think the unique thing about this year's club is it'll be a little less swing and miss. And I just love our ability to grind out at bats and have really good at bats. And then you talk about, some of the right-handed juice that you have in that lineup with Luke Hill, with Jackson Ross, with Leger and Groff, who were here a year ago. And then one of those guys that I was talking about earlier that has really stepped forward that I think has a chance to have a really good year is Judd Utermark, who's healthy now and is just a physical freak. And he may have a little more swing and miss than some of them, but he's also going to be a run producer and hit the ball out of the yard. So I do, in answer to your question, like a lot of the right-handed bats that we're going to have in there.
Campbell Smithwick, a guy that my son played with the last couple of years there at Oxford. I know what kind of bat he brings to the table, elite. Somebody mentioned that he hurt his toe. What's the status with that? I saw some tweets. He was questionable to travel out to Hawaii. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so he had just kind of a weird deal. He came in and said, I'm embarrassed to say this, and you know, he's the sweetest kid in the world. He's a superstar human being, and so it didn't feel good after a couple days. So we went and got it checked out, and there's a stress reaction in there. So my naive view of the medicine world, it's what happens before a stress fracture, which would have been bad and set him out 4 to 6 weeks. Got that taken care of. So he's worn a steel plate in his shoe. Didn't want to put him in a boot because they didn't want some soft tissue stuff if he was completely immobilized. But he actually swung the bat off of the tee today for the first time in 2 weeks. And we're going to get him checked out on next Monday, and either get a thumbs up for Hawaii or a thumbs down. But it's nothing long term. And obviously we want to take care of him. And if that means, he has to miss games out in Hawaii, then he'll miss those. We certainly don't want him missing anything after that. And so we'll be a little bit careful with that because, like you said, he's going to be a special player for us.
Who would be your number 2 catcher in case he can't play in Hawaii?
Yeah, we have a junior college guy. He's actually went to Jackson Prep, but then went to Chipola Junior College in Florida. A guy named Eli Birch, right-handed hitter, really good catch and throw guy. He'll fill in very well. And this is no knock on Eli. The hard part is, I think Campbell's going to walk out of this program and make himself a lot of money and all of that. He's another in the long line of, terrific catchers that are going to be really good prospects and great players. Those are just, hard shoes to fill for sure.
Are you a guy that, as you look at this lineup, we've talked about right-handers, left-handers, where you're like somewhere in the middle of that lineup, I can go left, right, left, or opposite, just to kind of get that, or does it matter? And you're just looking for the guys that can hit 4, 5, 6. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm probably a little more of the latter. The guy with the magic Sharpie who makes out the lineup is a little more of the former. So he does like left, right, probably a little more than what I do. But I think we have the ability to do that. And, you talked about the right-handers that we talked about, and then you can stack in some lefts with those. Andrew Fisher, transfer from Duke, who's got real power. Trayson Hughes, a transfer from Mercer. Smithwick that we talked about. So there's certainly some left-handed. John Kramer, who's been around for a couple of years, was on the national championship team. I think is ready to take a step forward. So there's definitely some left-handed bats that can fit in there too. I think we have the ability to match up if that's what we choose to do.
Coach, 2 of the guys that just absolutely tearing the ball up for you right now, Jackson Ross, the transfer from FAU, and Andrew Fisher from Duke. I've heard maybe, I don't know how much is out there, but they could be swapping positions. I'm hearing Duke, the Fisher from Duke, came in as third base, and Ross, more of a utility guy. But I'm hearing Ross maybe sliding at third and Fisher at first. What is that about?
I think if we started tomorrow, Fish would play third base. Ross probably a little more versatile and could play first base. My guess is if we started tomorrow, he plays over there. Utermark is the other guy who's a really good defender who could play both of the spots. And then Ross and Utermark could also slide into the left field spot too. So my best bet is that Fish gets a pretty good run over there at third base to start with. And then I think we'll bounce Ross around a little more just because his ability gives us that option.
Put you on the spot right now for a prediction, Coach. Are you? Is this a power team? Is this a team of advanced base to base, station to station, or what do you see this as an offensive unit? Their calling card.
Yeah, I've been coming on this show for 10 years, and we certainly prefer to bang the ball around a little bit. I think the unique thing about this team is that we're not going to swing and miss as much. There are a couple guys in there that I think will hit a lot of home runs that may swing and miss a little more, but collectively up and down, I think there's a lot of guys who can really move the ball. Talking about Groff, talking about Leger, talking about Luke Hill. All of those guys have the ability to hit the ball out of the yard, but those guys also don't swing and miss a ton. And so I think it's a really good mix that way. Certainly, I think in our league, it's just really hard to have a really good offense and not hit the ball out of the yard. I just think the way our league is built and the way baseball is now, to be really good offensively, I think you need to have the ability to hit the ball out of the yard. You know, we saw that in 22 when we went on our run in the national title. We don't think about that Elko, because we're going to build a statue and we won the national title, struck out 85 times that year. If you're going to do that, you need to hit 25 home runs, which he did. And so there's a little more swing and miss with he and Kemp in that lineup. We were just fortunate that those guys did what you need to do. If you're going to swing and miss a little bit, you need to hit a bunch of home runs, and they did. And Jackson Ross and Luke Hill stick out in particular of guys that can hit balls out of the yard. And guys, they may walk more than they strike out. They have really good discipline, and I think that just adds a dynamic to our club, because when we didn't swing it well a year ago, that was part of the deal. You know, we swung and missed a little bit. We wouldn't take our walks, and I think we will do that this year.
Coach, when I talked to you earlier, you mentioned two freshmen, Smithwick, and I want you to tell the audience what you told me about Braden Randall. Yeah, so Braden Randall probably does not fit the bill of what you think about when you think about an Ole Miss baseball player. He would tell you he's 5'10", and there is no shot he's 5'10". He's closer to 5'8" than he is 5'10". And he is scared of exactly nothing. You know, he's got Mike Bianco's personality, and he likes to get after it. And so he's a guy that is just going to be a spark plug for us. He may be the best defender on the infield as a freshman. He's a future shortstop here, but he's going to have the ability to play all places, and he has basically forced us. We loved him because we recruited him. We just didn't know how good he was. And so he has forced us through his play to find a spot for him to play. You know, he's going to get multiple starts, I would guess, out in Hawaii, and he can play all three shortstop, second base, third base spots in the infield, and is really good at it. He is going to be a pain in the rear end wherever he's hitting for the other team, because he just chews up pitches, and like I said, he loves the limelight. He loves the stage.
Coach, I know this is not your side of the ball or you know, hitters and pitchers, but you know enough about pitchers, and Rebel Nation's really down about Rivas, but I said Ole Miss has more quality depth this year to sustain something like that. Three guys that really have stood out to me during fall ball and your scrimmages here in the last couple of weeks are Mendez. I'd like for you to talk a little bit about him, what makes him unique. I've kind of compared him a little bit to Doug DeCasey. I know that's big shoes. And Doyle, and then Gunner, the JUCO guy you brought in, all left-handed pitchers. Tell everybody about their game a little bit.
Yeah, obviously with Rivas, it stinks. I know it's part of the game, and guys are throwing harder than they ever have before, and it stinks. It's not ideal, and all of that. Like you said, and I think you said it perfectly, we are much more equipped if something like that, which we didn't want to have happen. We are much more equipped on the mound this year from a depth standpoint than we were a year ago when Hunter went down. And we're fortunate with that. The three guys you talked about have all been really good for us. You talked about Mendez. He does have some Doug qualities. I would never put anyone on that, because that's the best college pitcher I've ever been around in 20 years of doing this. But he does. He's going to be special. He's going to live from the left side at 90 to 95 miles an hour, and it's really easy. He is certainly the most advanced freshman we have on the mound, and has a chance to be, you know, the next really, really good one. Liam Doyle. Liam Doyle's a transfer from Coastal Carolina with a big arm from the left side. Struggled with command a little bit in the fall, but he's been really good in our spring inter squads, and he certainly fills a role also. And then Gunnar Dennis is, you know, transfer from Meridian Community College, and shoot, guys, I don't know, and again, I'm on the offensive side of things. I don't know that we expected a ton from him right out of the gate, and he may have been our best strike thrower, just completely composed, and he's going to be a really good left-hander out of the pen that's going to make some outs disappear for sure. So the depth of left-handed pitching, I think we have a chance to have a really, really good bullpen, and just like the depth of the pitching staff for sure, even with Rivas going down.
Thank you, Coach. Cannot say thank you enough. We look forward to it.
Always enjoy it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Mike. Bring back some wins from Hawaii.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes,
the Faris Group is our partner, and in retirement, they can give you their nearly 2 decades of expertise to help retirees invest and distribute their savings. The Faris Group. They have locations in Ridgeland, Oxford, Little Rock, and Baton Rouge. Give them a call. It's toll-free, 1-877-327-3735. We'll finish the program right after this.
I'm a lover man. I got a woman way over town that's good to me. Oh, yeah. Don't you know she's all right? Don't you know she's all right? She's all right, she's all right. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Rebel fans, do you have real estate questions? Coldwell Banker Signature agents have the answers. Whether you're buying or selling, let the agents at Coldwell Banker Signature give you the home field advantage. Start your search now, www.oxford38655.com, or call them directly at 662-50-38655. Also, if you're thinking about a career in real estate, give Martin a call at 662-50-38655 to learn about the opportunities available. Find your home with Coldwell Banker Signature today.
Never miss the game and never miss the party at the Library Sports Bar in Oxford. Grab a seat and a cocktail in the sports bar to watch the game on one of their many big screen TVs. Move on into the middle bar for some great live music Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. Enjoy a breeze, a beer, and a ball game out in their patio as well. Stop in for happy hour from 3 to 7 during the weekdays. Have a big old time at the biggest bar in town. Meet you at the Brary, the Library Sports Bar on South 11th in Oxford. Are you looking for a quality used car at a price fit for your budget? No Worries Automotive Group has locations in Batesville, Olive Branch, South Haven, and Memphis. No credit check, no driver's license, no worries. Every vehicle comes with a 30-month, 30,000-mile service contract. Let our friendly and knowledgeable sales staff help you find the car you deserve. Remember, we have locations in Batesville, Olive Branch, South Haven, and Memphis. Find us anytime, anywhere at NoWorriesCars.com. Cannon Cleary McGraw is ranked Oxford's #1 real estate firm because of fans like you. The agents of Cannon Cleary McGraw are true experts in their field, and it shows with hundreds of 5-star reviews and unwavering commitment to their clients. Cannon Cleary McGraw experts specialize in game day condos, seasonal townhomes, and high-end single-family homes. If you are on the sidelines and ready to get in the game, give a Cannon Cleary McGraw agent a call today at 662-371-1000. Tilt the odds in your favor of getting what you want with the best service in Oxford at Cannon Cleary McGraw Real Estate.
With over 40 years of combined experience, the Tom Smith Land and Homes team, serving the Cleveland, Mississippi area, is committed to achieving the best results for buyers and sellers. Their knowledge and expertise about agricultural, hunting, and recreational lands is highly known and respected throughout the state. With Tom Smith Land and Homes, you can expect more and get more return on your real estate investment.
Contact Tom Smith Land and Homes today at 662-441-2500.
Looking for the right place to get your game day colors? Rebel Rags has the largest selection of Ole Miss merchandise anywhere, including football jerseys in every size and color. Come grab them while supplies last. Rebel Rags also has game day polos, sideline gear, tailgate items, and more. Famous name brands like Nike, Under Armour, Columbia, Drake, Coliseum, Champion, and Comfort Color t-shirts. Check out Rebel Rags' new entrance off Jackson Avenue with plenty of parking, or shop online at rebelrags.net. Rebel Rags, owned and operated by Rebel fans for Rebel fans. Tell them, Molly.
Rebel Rags, anything, everything, Ole Miss.
More of the Rebel Yell Hotline, presented by Cannon Motors, coming up next.
Got a lot to do here in the last segment. SEC and Ole Miss News brought to you by Van Atkins Jewelers. Van Atkins, the South leaders in estate jewelry and diamond solitaires. As Chuck says, you know she's worth it. I'm going into the latest projections on men's basketball. CBS Jerry Palm has Ole Miss as an 8 seed. A&M is the last 4 in a play-in game with Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Kentucky, Mississippi State, South Carolina, and Tennessee all in. 9 SEC schools. Joe Lunardi agrees on those, but has Ole Miss, A&M State, and Florida as the last 4 buys into the tournament. So 9 SEC teams in. There's a look at that. Ole Miss in both still. Some big games.
I don't know how in the world they predict that.
It's hard, but Joe's good.
Great job.
Joe's really good at it.
You know he's got a leak over there.
Red and Blue Chips Recruiting Summit presented by the Grove Collective to give those NIL opportunities for all Ole Miss students while giving the level of protection and guidance in today's NIL marketplace.
Yeah, kind of short on time here, but Ole Miss received 3 commitments this last week. Corey Amos, a 4-star linebacker, really a rush in out of Opelousas, Louisiana. 6'4", 205 defender. Northwest Community College wide receiver Janoris Hobson. You might know a little bit of something about him, Gary. As a wide receiver, led Northwest in receiving yards this past year. He's the older brother of Jacoby Hobson. That is Lake Cormont, and he's the top 150 national recruit at linebacker, so that's really big there. And then Ole Miss added a lone snapper and Caleb Blankenship over the weekend. Bigger than normal lone snappers coming in, Chucky. He's 6'3", 245 already out of Arkansas.
All right.
And then finally we get the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's brought to you by Riverland Roofing, your locally owned roofing firm. Inspections, new roofs, maintenance programs. They've got you covered home and business. 662-644-4297, or their website is riverlandroofing.com.
Well, the good, Ole Miss men's basketball is currently 18-4 and 5-4 in the SEC, which is really good on so many levels. But they're coming off a week where they went 1-1 at home, beating Mississippi State 86-82 and losing to Auburn last Saturday in the Pavilion for their first home loss of the season. But here's the good part. The Ole Miss fans have really responded by packing the Pavilion the last 2 home games. And I got to tell you, that's extremely important to the success or failure of a hoops team. Look across the nation. The home teams that are backed by their home crowds win way more than they lose, and the road is simply a tough venue to try to scrape out a win against a full house. Good job, Rebel fans. Great job, actually. Yancey just went over the 2 football commitments, so we'll get away from that. But the bad, well, unfortunately, the Rebels could not deliver for the home crowd Saturday against Auburn, and when all is said and done, it was just a matter of the Tigers simply being the better team. They beat the Rebs handily at Auburn and put on a torrid second half to overcome a 9-point halftime deficit to dismantle the Rebs again in Oxford. Left-handed pitcher Xavier Rivas, as we've talked about, is yet another victim of elbow injury that will have to undergo Tommy John surgery and be lost for the year. He was expected to be a weekend starter in 2024. He was injured in an inter-squad game last week. Riley Maddox, Hunter Elliott, and Josh Mallett have all had TJ surgery in the past 2 years from the Rebel staff, but arm injuries to pitchers are not rare in college baseball. They're not rare at all. And this is a good, going back to good, the Rebels have added in football Billy Glasscock as the new general manager. He was the Texas director of personnel. Illinois wide receiver coach George McDonald, Alabama tight end coach Joe Cox, and cornerback coach Brian B. Brown, one of my favorites, to round out the football staff.
I've talked to one of my Minnesota contacts, and the new Illinois coach that's going to coach receivers that's replacing longtime Derek Nix said he's an unbelievable recruiter. So that was really good news to these ears.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of good things about Billy Glasscock. Well, a pioneer of the recruiting, general manager, chief of staff type stuff that has evolved in the last 8 or 10 years. And I hated to lose Austin Thomas to LSU, but he's going to be in administration. He's not going to be the GM at LSU. He's going to try to become an athletic director sometime in his career, and it's just an opportunity he needed to take.
And you look at what he did at NC State, right? NC State these last 4, 5, 6 years have really turned it on, and the talent is turned it on, and he was there as the GM over there.
Yeah. I've talked to a couple of people that have met Billy Glasscock, and they say he's definitely serious about bringing talent into the Ole Miss.
All in all, we feel good about replacing what left the coach.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I mean, I hate losing Derek Nix.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just been a staple around here for 13 years. But at the same time, it's just part of the beast now, and you got to replace with whoever you can. And when you got a guy from Texas, you get a guy from Illinois, you get a guy from Alabama, and you get B. Brown, who's been a defensive coordinator for the last 5 or 6 years at Louisville and Cincinnati. I think we've stepped up.
Yeah, B. Brown's a great X&O coach as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a big-time hire.
I agree.
All right, so we thank Gordon Ford for jumping on the hoops guru,
Yep.
the offended Mike Clement, who was not called a guru on Twitter, for being with us. But, as we said, he's so good. When he comes on and answering the questions.
I can't believe he's been here 10 years.
I can't either.
How long has Lafferty been at Ole Miss?
He was here before.
Yeah.
Before Clement.
I think he's been here since Bianco when he left as a player.
He came.
Yeah.
It was a couple of years after Mike.
Yeah.
He came back. He came back after that, like 2 or 3 years.
Well, Mike's been here 23rd, 3 or 4. He's going on his 24th.
Talk to you next Monday, people.
Hotty toddy.